won the Heisman in college. He's been in the league 15 years with Oakland and Green Bay. He has seen it all. He's Charles Woodson. Moments ago, he spoke with Michelle Tafoya.
Charles, the last couple of weeks you faced some strong passing teams. The Texans are predominantly a running team with Arian Foster. What specific challenges does your defense face as you try to slow down their run?
Well, the thing about them is that they're a balanced team, that they do everything pretty well. The main thing for us is going to be try to stop this run and try to get them into passes and situations, try to take that ball from them.
You guys are 2-3. You're on the road against an undefeated team. You and Aaron Rodgers are the leaders of this team. What are you telling the younger guys in terms of the urgency of winning tonight?
We just got to turn the energy up. That's all it is. We've been coming out kind of flat a little bit. It's time to turn the energy up and get this win tonight.
Charles, good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
And the Packers are without some key weapons tonight on offense. Running back Cedric Benson is out at least 8 weeks because of a foot injury. Wide receiver Greg Jennings out for the second straight week with a groin injury. Tight end DJ Williams is out because of a hamstring. And starting nose tackle BJ Raji is out with an ankle. And out with Brian Cushing out for the season with a torn ACL. Tim Dobbins will start at middle linebacker for the Texans.
All right, thank you, Michelle. All impactful injuries, both sides. This crowd is revved up. It's the first time NBC's Sunday Night Football has come to Houston. It's the first time the Texans have been on this package, and they are ready. Mason Crosby will kick off. The Texans won the toss and elected to receive. And back to receive is Keyshawn Martin, who becomes their new run-back guy. Trenton Holiday had been the man. They cut him this week. He's in Denver, so we'll take a look at the Michigan State rookie as he collects it at the goal line. And it's buried up at the 19 by Robert Francois as we take a look at the Texans starting offense.
Matt Schaub, Virginia.
Arian Foster, University of Tennessee.
James Casey, Rice University.
Andre Johnson, the U.
Kevin Walter, Eastern Michigan.
Owen Daniels, Anna, Wisconsin.
Dwayne Brown, Johnson Elementary, Richmond, Virginia.
Wade Smith, Wallace Elementary, Dallas, Texas.
Chris Myers, Howard Drive Elementary.
Antoine Caldwell, Roll Tide.
Derek Newton, Carver Middle School.
Oh, next week we'll be down to preschools. Arian Foster is the running back from the 19-yard line on first down. Off the play fake. Schaub excels at play action, but this time the secondary does its job, and he gets taken down at the 17-yard line by C.J. Wilson. So despite not having Raji in there, they start with a sack.
Well, one of the things you see out of the Texans is they do a lot of maximum protection. Just two guys out in the route and really nobody there. Working down the field, Andre Johnson not there and had to pull it down.
Quickly to the line on 2nd and 12. Schaub has to back away and then throw it away. So a good start for that Packer defense, especially with Raji out. Schaub has won 9 consecutive games going back to last season. He won his last 4 last year, then suffered a foot injury, had foot surgery, and couldn't make it to the playoffs. And now he started 5-0. Schaub originally with the Atlanta Falcons, where he backed up Mike Vick in the middle of the last decade. Gary Kubiak brought him over and signed him when Kubiak came here a year later, and he has been outstanding. Ben Tate is now in the backfield, flanking Schaub on 3rd down and 12. And they're going to give it to him out of the shotgun, and he'll be a little shy of the first down. He picks up 10. M.D. Jennings, so much a part of that Fail Mary play in Seattle a couple of weeks back, makes the stop, 4th down.
Well, an impressive beginning for this Green Bay Packers defense. They somehow talked them into throwing the ball on the first 2 downs and then running on 3rd down, but a 3 and out to start is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Packers.
The left-footed kicker Donnie Jones to send it down to Randall Cobb, who runs back punts and kickoffs, and we'll see a lot of action at wideout tonight. And Cobb pulls it into the 24-yard line, coming straight up the middle, and brings it back to the 33 as we take a look at the Green Bay starters.
Aaron Rodgers, California.
Alex Glenn,
Hawaii.
Jordy Nelson, Kansas State.
James Jones, Solid Lake State.
Randall Cobb, Kentucky.
Jermichael Finley, the University of Texas.
Marshall Newhouse, TCU.
TJ Lang, Eastern Michigan.
Jeff Saturday, the University of North Carolina.
Josh Sitton, Central Florida.
Brian Balaga, Iowa.
Jeff Saturday, all of those years at Indianapolis, snapping to Manning, and there's Watt telling the crowd to get into it, and you won't miss him tonight, number 99. Rodgers will start from the shotgun. We figure to see a lot of shotgun tonight. And the inside handoff goes to Alex Green, who has to take over now as their primary running back. Short gain, 2nd and 7. No huddle.
One thing the Green Bay Packers wanted to do is pick up the pace. They are thinking that they have been simply too slow this season. They want to get it going.
And again, an inside give. We were talking to Rodgers last night about shotgun, about the running game, about Alex Green, who has played very little. Last year, ACL. This year, second year out of the University of Hawaii. But he's got to take over right now. James Starks now comes back. We'll see John Kuhn. We'll see Brandon Sane as well. But they'll do a lot of running out of the gun. 3rd down and 5 now from the 38-yard line. And Rodgers' first pass is hauled in by Jordy Nelson. Jonathan Joseph, the left corner, takes him out of bounds, and a 3rd down conversion to move the chains.
Well, that had a little chance of being a problem there. They had some issues with these back shoulder throws last week, and Aaron left that one a little bit inside there, but protection good enough for that quick throw.
From the 47-yard line, they give it to Green. Big hole over the right side, and Green will pick up 7 yards, taking it to the Houston 46-yard line.
One of the things that the Packers wanted to do in this no-huddle hurry-up is get the Texans into their nickel look. In other words, their 4-man front instead of their 5-man front, and run at that.
And every play out of no-huddle to this point, and that pass is dropped a little bit behind Cobb. Could have hauled it in. It's 3rd down and 3. Let's take a look at the Texan defense.
J.J. Watt, Wisconsin.
Sean Cody, USC.
Antonio Smith, Shaolin Temple.
Brooks Reed, University of Arizona.
Tim Dobbins, Blinkcliff High School.
Brady James, LSU.
Connor Barwin, University of Cincinnati.
Kareem Jackson, University of Alabama.
Danielle Manning, Abilene Christian University.
Glover Quinn, North Pike High School.
J. Joe, Rock Hill.
And a 3rd and 3. That's James Jones getting free, beating Jackson down the left sideline, but the pass is not there, and it's 4th down.
Oh my goodness, they missed one of these last week too. Just simply wide open. A beautiful move by James Jones, and Aaron Rodgers missed again. A lot of times, Al, on those double moves, the receiver can't get up to speed quite as fast. What a blown opportunity that is.
Perfect example right there as Tim Mastay comes in to punt from midfield. Flag is down, a first of the game. And for the moment, Green Bay will down the ball at the 2-yard line, but we'll take our first look at Jerome Boger tonight making the call.
Outside, defense, number 11, lining up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
Well, isn't that something with the rookie DeVere Posey giving them a 1st down after the Packers had downed the ball inside the 2-yard line?
Well, let's see, up there, I guess.
11.
You know, interesting.
Well, they called it. And for the Packers, they keep the ball. Had there not been a penalty, the Texans would have been backed up to their own 2-yard line after a near-perfect punt. So now Rodgers gets another shot. They start from the 41 this time out of the shotgun. And Rodgers is going to go deep, and it is pulled in by Jordy Nelson, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. 41 yards after the penalty gives them new life. And Rodgers has taken his attitude from the meeting to the field.
He has indeed. Let's watch this one from Jordy Nelson. After the release, gets down the field. There is a little separation move right there, not called. And after missing the one earlier to James Jones, comes back in this one right on the money. You beat the Texans, you're going to have to make these big plays because they are going to be in bump and run man-to-man a lot. Great start for the Packers.
Crosby, extra point. Flag is thrown. In fact, 3 flags are now down on the field. And there is Posey with that offside call, giving the Packers a first down.
There are 2 fouls. Offside, kicking team, number 38. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 53. Both fouls will be enforced on the kickoff.
That's on Brady James. So not the start this big crowd in Houston was looking for tonight. Rodgers for the touchdown, 7-0. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Southwest Airlines. You can find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Share Everything only from Verizon. By the Capital One Cash Rewards card. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. Oh, you gotta love tailgating in Texas. Here in Houston, Forbes Traveler has been ranking it one of the top 5 tailgating cities over the last 5 years. Now that's something that you want to be ranked in the top 5, right?
It's absolutely a lot of meat and cheese here in this crowd tonight.
Yep. Green Bay ain't bad either. Outside before a game at Lambeau Field.
Might have DeVere Posey out there on one of those grills pretty soon.
Boy, that was a very costly penalty, and there was the man who lined up offside on a 4th and 3 punt. Aaron Rodgers, meanwhile, throwing the touchdown pass. The kickoff comes from the 50-yard line, but it's going to be run back by Keyshawn Martin. So after the penalties, the kickoff from midfield, and Martin will run it back to the 15. Let's go back to the penalty, which made it first down after a 4th and 3 punt.
Right here's the line, and DeVere Posey, the guy on the end of the line of scrimmage right there in the neutral zone, and that leads to this. And when you're playing against the high-pressure Houston Texans defense, nothing better than striking big early in a game to make them think about their style.
Arian Foster goes in motion, so Schaub with an empty backfield from the 14-yard line. And Schaub will throw it outside, and that's taken in by James Casey, who can play fullback or tight end or H-back, tackled by DJ Smith, and a first down for the Texans.
And James Casey was a wide receiver for the entirety of his career. I was talking to him on the field. He plays fullback, does all that stuff. I said, "You ever lead block in your life?" He said, "Are you crazy? I was a wide out till I got here, and all of a sudden they put me in the weight room, and now I'm a lead blocker."
6'3" and 240 off play action. Schaub able to escape, but then has to throw it away as we meet the Packer defense.
Ryan Pickett, Ohio State University.
C.J. Wilson, East Carolina.
Nick Perry, USC. A.J. Hawk, The Ohio State University.
DJ Smith, The Appalachian State. Clay Matthews, USC. Tramon Williams, Louisiana Tech.
Charles Woodson, University of Michigan. Morgan Burnett, Georgia Tech.
Sam Shields, the U.
Again, minus B.J. Raji, the nose tackle. Very significant, especially the way the Texans run the ball scheme-wise as Foster takes it up to the 34-yard line.
And that's really the first time we've seen the stretch. B.J. Raji not playing in this game. And really, Al, if I had to pick one game that I would want that guy to play in for the Green Bay Packers, it would be this one. I mean, this is a team totally dependent, despite what we've seen early in this game, on run, bootleg, run, play action. Their quarterback's only been sacked 3 times all year because of that style.
Foster second in the league in rushing to Jamal Charles coming into the weekend. 3rd and 6. And Schaub's going to go down again. A sack. That's Jarrell Worthy, the rookie out of Michigan State. He's going to see a lot more action tonight because Raji's not in the game. BJ salutes him. And Schaub, who rarely gets sacked, like once every 51 pass attempts this year, has gone down twice tonight.
And this is a big moment for Jarrell Worthy. He's getting a chance to play in this game because they basically had to take Ryan Pickett and move him over to the nose tackle position. Up to it so far is the second rounder out of Michigan State.
Schaub had been sacked only 3 times all season. Here's Jones's kick, and that will bound out of bounds. Mark it at about the 30-yard line on Sunday Night Football from Houston. Well, you can check out NBCSports.com/SNF Extra for the full viewing experience. Every week we have a different social media analyst, and tonight it will be Amon Green, the former Packer running back. So, rough start for Schaub. And this is Cobb. And he will take that pass from Rodgers and pick up about 9. He's tackled there by Bryce McCain. And again, going no huddle are the Packers.
One of the problems, if you bring just one guy down against a bunch formation, you're going to get some of those quick screens. And Randall Cobb simply has to get the ball more than what he did last week. He was sensational. Got to find a way to incorporate him.
2nd and 1. Alex Green through the middle. Well, the first thing Rodgers said to us last night when we walked in, hey, how's it going? He said, hey, outside, the sky is falling. Inside, we're just fine.
Yeah, he still feels like they're the favorites out here, and he thinks the Texans probably look at him as favorites too.
Swings it to the outside, and the catch is made, but the tackle is made simultaneously as Finley, who was a little questionable coming into the game, gets tackled by Glover Quinn.
Yeah, a lot of friends and family down here. He really wanted to play. They put him through a strenuous test before the game. He's still a little shaky with that shoulder. We'll have to keep an eye on him.
2nd and 9. And Rodgers under pressure, and down he'll go. And that's J.J. Watt.
Just a little stunt around this way, but coverage sack here. Watch Rodgers, nowhere to go. He just kind of runs into the sack. He tries to escape. Can't blame T.J. Lang. Good job on the outside with these receivers, and hey, with some of that stuff, that's where Greg Jennings used to shine, and Rodgers was very open about the fact they miss him.
Now 8.5 sacks for him to reassume the league lead over Clay Matthews on the other side. On 3rd and 15, Rodgers throws, and it is Cobb at the sideline, holds it in, stays in bounds, makes the catch, and just does get the first down. Perfect pass, great catch, kept his feet in, first down.
Well, you better not do too much of this against the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, one of the best in the business. His numbers remarkable once he gets outside the pocket, and made the Texans pay for a little over-aggressiveness there.
And now it's Green as we go back to the no huddle. After the 3rd and 15 pickup halfway through the quarter, Green Bay on top 7-0. And one big difference for the Texans last year was when they brought Wade Phillips in to be the defensive coordinator. A tremendous improvement.
9 points per game better under Wade Phillips than what they were the year before.
2nd and 9. And Rodgers is going to go deep, and a little too deep for Jordy Nelson. That time Jonathan Joseph with him again. It'll be 3rd down and 9 for the Packers.
And Jordy Nelson this year hasn't come up with all the big plays that he did a year ago. It's a little different being the number 1 receiver instead of the number 2 receiver. And he's getting away with a couple of little shoves on the end of some of those routes. Greg Jennings on the outside used to draw a lot of coverage, make things a lot easier for these other Packer receivers.
Going forward for Jennings, missing another game, 3rd down and 9. Rodgers will sling it to the near side and out of bounds. Intended for Cobb. Allen ball coverage.
Excuse me, Al. This back shoulder stuff has been a little bit of an issue for the Packers. Got one intercepted, another one almost intercepted. It's so much their bread and butter of their offense. They run a lot of the streak routes, and then they just go back shoulder off of it. That's the, all right, here we go, back out of there, and people are just sitting on it right now.
Match day to punt. And Ricky Martin is going to let it go, and that ball will be down at the 3-yard line. So a good punt by Match day to pin the Texans deep. 7-0 Green Bay. Well, the Oilers left for Tennessee in '97. Then they built this stadium. The Texans came into the league in 2002, and there was their first head coach, Dom Capers, who was here for 4 years. And then he was gone, and Gary Kubiak came in. So only 2 coaches in the 11-year history of this franchise. From the 3-yard line on first down, they'll run the ball here with Foster tackled by Matthews after a gain of a couple.
Clay Matthews working against Owen Daniels and just played this one perfectly. Watch this. Comes up the field, stuffs him back inside to make the tackle. And boy, you sure thought coming into this game, especially with B.J. Raji being out, that the running game might just explode for the Texans, but so far they haven't done it much, and when they have done it, it hasn't worked.
The better side of the line, obviously, for the Texans is the left side. They figure to run that way more often than right. Off the play fake, the pass is caught and taken to the 9-yard line by Owen Daniels. He's tackled by Tramon Williams, who actually had a chance to play with the Texans when he first came into the league, but they waived him and he wound up at Green Bay. It'll be 3rd down and 4.
Well, here's step 2 of this offense, where they come back and they go stretch play on first down, and then you go bootleg off of it. It's remarkable how similar their passing game looks like their running game. They do the exact same thing with their running game when they make a play, then they play fake, exact same thing with the passing game.
For a lot of Shanahan's Denver offense here, it would figure with Kubiak on Mike's staff, and you got a flag here for a false start.
False start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Dwayne Brown, left tackle, and he's a good one. 5th year out of Virginia Tech. The 2 best linemen would be Brown and the center, Chris Myers.
Now here's where you have to be a little bit careful, though. Now you know what's going to happen. Dom Capers might try and go put some points on the board with his defense. Pressure likely here. Looks like from the top of the screen.
Last year, very proficient with the Packers in takeaways. And the pass is caught, and that's Andre Johnson, who's able to get away and pick up the first down. So the veteran beating Tramon Williams, Andre Johnson, drafted in the first round in 2003 in his 10th year as a Texan.
Now, Andre Johnson right up here, maybe not as explosive as he once was, but I've seen him be much more physical here lately. He seems to really enjoy against some of these smaller corners, just pushing him around, not illegally, but just getting physical, getting the separation. Huge play to get him off the goal line.
Johnson at 6'3" and 230. First down to the 17-yard line. They run that left side again with Foster to the 19-yard line. Look at this, leading the league. Arian Foster a couple of years ago led the league in rushing. May do it again this year. He's 2nd right now. Schaub in 2009 led the league in passing yards. And Andre Johnson in 2009 led the league in receiving yards. And not very often when you see a team with 3 guys, all who have won some sort of an individual title.
And if they'd all stayed healthy last year, they might have won a Super Bowl.
Right. 2nd down and 8.
Man.
And tripped up is Matthews. Matthews beating Brown and coming in there to knock Foster down and setting up a 3rd down and long.
Well, you know he's the sack leader coming in, but so far he's destroying the Texans with his ability to stop the run. Well, Gary Kubiak was certainly impressed with him. He said, I've been watching guys for a long time, and you don't see many people playing at the level that he is right now. He is a terror in all facets of the game.
And you can't miss him with the flowing mane. On the other side, you got J.J. Watt. Can't miss him either, especially wearing number 99. 3rd and 10.
Guess what?
Pressure on. Matthews gets there to break up the play because Schaub just had to dump it off because Matthews was in his face. It'll be 4th and 10.
All right, he's going to come down here and then hit the blitz on this one. Surprises the guard center gap there. Schaub lucky to get that thing out of there, and especially lucky that didn't end up an intentional grounding play.
So Jones into punt, already 3 punts for the Texans in the opening frame. Cobb at the 28. Nice run back. 17 yards out to the 45 with 2:46 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0 Packers. Well, Revolution TV's hottest new drama. You can see it tomorrow. A steam-powered train will change the game for everyone. Revolution tomorrow, 10 Eastern and Pacific, 9 Central. And now here on NBC, that's the Houston Water Wall. There's Matthews. There's Watt. And now the Packers will start this drive from the 44. Rodgers out of the shotgun, as he's been most of the time through the first quarter tonight. Faking the give, trying to escape, which he does, and then throws and connects to Cobb. And Cobb will pick up a first down at the 31-yard line. Kareem Jackson able to knock him down, but Rodgers able to get away in the backfield.
Boy, how good is this by the league MVP from a season ago? In trouble, scrambling around, Connor Barwin all over him, and then hits the huge play down the field.
24 yards, and one of the backup linemen, Tim Jamison, is the man who's getting attention on the field. Collegiality reigns here tonight. J.J. Watt, a Wisconsin guy. Aaron Rodgers, of course, a California guy, and now a Wisconsin guy. And there's Watt with his little salute to Rodgers and his own salute.
The discount double check got thrown away there.
So the two guys having a couple of laughs during the commercial break and now ready for serious action. 1st and 10 after Jamison was helped to the sideline, the injury timeout from the 32-yard line. Rodgers slings it to the left side, and that'll be caught there by Jones, who breaks away for extra yardage to move the chains. Got away from Kareem Jackson, the cornerback. First down.
Well, if the Packers receivers can win one-on-one battles, they're going to be there all day. I mean, with the way that the Packers are aligning with everybody in the backfield, it is, you know, a third of the field over there for James Jones and Jordy Nelson. All you got to do is win.
They actually are going to spot the ball a little short of the 22-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and inches. And they give it to Green, and Green does pick up those needed inches to the 21-yard line as we're under 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter.
You know, Al, one of the things that really is looking unusual, you see this 4-man line. Typically, when you play the Texans, they're going to have 5 guys across the front, counting those outside linebackers. The Packers felt like that opened up more space for them to run the ball out of that look, and they're taking advantage of it.
From the 20-yard line, play fake. Rodgers has to scramble away, gets out of the pocket and throws it away. Chased by the outside linebacker, Brooks Reed.
Just a completely naked bootleg here, and you're counting on a young player to come down the line, but he reads it perfectly. Nobody out there to block him, and the quarterback knows you better get your head around fast, because if you don't fool Brooks Reed, you got to get rid of him.
2nd and 10. Then Crabtree in to help block, and a shovel goes to Tom Crabtree, and he'll take the ball to the 6-yard line where it'll be 1st down and goal.
MVP's looking a little bit like the MVP here, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
Crabtree's going to sneak out. He was in protection. Nobody came, so he just simply sneaked out. And Aaron Rodgers played a little option football. Looked like something out of the old days of Oklahoma and the wishbone.
Packers TD percentage in the red zone, best in the league. Texans are 6th best on the other side of the ball. It's 1st and goal. Line up in the eye here. Kuhn in front of Green on 1st down. Play action. Good time to throw. And the pass is caught for a touchdown by James Jones. His 6th touchdown catch of the season and 5th in the last 3 games.
James Jones came all the way across the field that time. That's how good the protection was. He's just going to streak across here and outrun him. He scored 2 touchdowns in back-to-back games. Does he get that one? It looks like he did. There was a juggle. Not there, but I think that's a catch.
Yes, I do too. Controlled it all the way to the ground. Cradled it. All scoring plays reviewed upstairs before it can be made official. And Boger gets the word that it is good. So Mastay for the extra point. And the Green Bay Packers, who blew that 18-point lead last week, come into Houston snarling. And they look like it. 14-0. Last year's MVP, Aaron Rodgers. That's a season for the ages. 45 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, phenomenal passer rating, and there is numbers through this season. Not terrible, but when compared to last year, that's what he was talking about. I mean, everybody says, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Well, nothing's wrong with him in the first quarter tonight. There are his numbers: 129 yards, he's thrown for 2 touchdowns. They come in basically running no huddle, and right now the Texans are trailing by 2 touchdowns as a bouncing ball will go into the end zone for a touchback. You know, I think of it in these terms, Chris. It's like an actor wins the Academy Award and you say, what's wrong with you? Why don't you win it the next year too?
You know, and I brought it up to Aaron last night, and I said, you know, you guys made it look so easy last year. And I started to say something out, and he jumped on that like a leopard, didn't he? He was like, it's not easy to go 122 quarterback rating and set all the records that we did. It's not easy, and we're being held to that standard. Well, compare what we're doing to anybody else. It's not easy. I'm like, okay.
Here's Aaron Foster.
Not easy.
You got him stirred up? He was stirred up anyway. Loss of 1, 2nd and 11, and that's going to take us to the end of the first quarter.
I'll tell you, the story so far has been the Texans' inability to get their running game going. The Packers have just swarmed them.
Green Bay leading by a score of 14-0. And Sunday night football from Texas continues after these messages. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by Geico, and you can see bottom of the screen the Astrodome vacant right now, and right next to it Reliant Stadium. Speaking of the Astrodome, Bum Phillips was the Houston Oilers head coach for 6 seasons. There he is at the age of 89, the native of Orange, Texas.
I used to hate that song.
Houston.
They come down there and kick us, and we just can listen to it all day.
So the Miami Dolphins, they thought it was their song. Andre Johnson makes the catch, and that's going to be enough for a first down. Gain of 11 as we start the second quarter. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya in Houston.
Interesting to see if the Texans and Andre Johnson a little shot to the nose or something, but whether or not they can stay with this running game. Nobody has been more consistent staying with the run than this team. Over 30 carries per game in every game.
Before that graphic goes away, let me just make mention of the fact that only 6% of the time coming into the game have the Texans trailed, and now they're trailing 14-0 through the quarter. You got a flag here after Foster takes the ball out to the 36-yard line. And Jerome Boger tells us after going one way, he says the other.
Defense, number 52. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's Clay Matthews.
Watch Wade Smith right here and the block that he does on Ryan Pickett coming down. This is why a lot of teams just simply hate playing against the Texans in this stretch play. They are going to torture those down linemen. It's a legal block. You're allowed to come down and block as long as you get that head in front, but it is something that keeps defensive tackles dancing.
Andre Johnson went out. Now he's back in. First down and 5. And falling down was Arian Foster. And you've got Nick Perry who goes down. So with all of the injuries they have with Raji leading that charge, and now you got Nick Perry, who's the rookie outside linebacker, #1 draft choice out of the University of Southern California, holding his knee, and that's enough to get Mike McCarthy to come out to take a first-hand look. Wednesday nights on NBC. Check it out. Chicago Fire. Every day they save the lives of others and take care of their own. Chicago Fire. Wednesday nights right here on NBC. Well, Perry was able to walk off under his own power. Walden comes in to spell him. Second down and 4 now. And this is Ben Tate, the backup back, and Ben Tate doesn't go anywhere. Ryan Pickett is right there, the 6'2", 340-pounder, 12th year in the league, former St. Louis Ram.
Now this field is kind of an interesting thing, and there's Nick Perry over on the sideline, and you could see when he got blocked and then tried to reestablish that left leg, kind of slip. But they bring in trays of grass. They're like 6 foot by 6 foot, and there are little seams out there. And a lot of players aren't too crazy about it.
Third down and 3, and that is caught by Kevin Walker. So a third down conversion gives the Texans the ball in Packer territory at the 46-yard line.
Old reliable Kevin Walter has been doing this for a while. Just finds a way to come down inside in the gap, find a little hole in the defense. The Green Bay Packers last year gave up a ton of big plays. They've been much better this year, only 3 of 30 plus, but you can work them underneath a bit more.
And under pressure, that is caught. Reaching down is Owen Daniels to make the grab, and he takes it to the 31. You had Matthews coming in, and Schaub had to get rid of it in a hurry. The pass was low, but the catch was made, and that's a gain of 15.
Now, Dwayne Brown's a good player, but Clay Matthews is making him look bad. He's trying to engage him early, and I'll tell you, Matt Schaub does a great job of getting that thing out of there. That was instantaneous pressure, and they got a positive play out of it. Clay Matthews does not want J.J. Watt to retake his sack lead.
To the 31, deepest penetration for the Texans, and out of the outside, trying to pick his way through the traffic, unable to, is Arian Foster. What a story he is. Played 4 years at Tennessee, didn't get drafted, had a pretty good career there, especially a good junior year. So then they sign him as a free agent, and in his second season winds up leading the league in rushing. He's also a great receiver, reminds you a lot of what LaShawn McCoy does for Philadelphia, what Ray Rice does for Baltimore is what Foster does for this team.
Describes himself as flowing like water. He just is very smooth. Like Marcus Allen, maybe, kind of a guy, just looks effortless, and patience wins.
Second down and 9, and again the pressure is put on, and the pass is incomplete, but a flag is thrown, intended for Walker. You had Sam Shields covering. They throw the flag. Meanwhile, Schaub goes down as he gets rid of it under heavy pressure again, and the call is going to go against Green Bay.
Pass interference. Defense, number 37. All the foul, automatic first down.
Well, a couple of little fouls as he goes. Sam Shields, you'll see him give a little grab here. And then at the very end of this thing, sort of up over the top, I guess they called the grab that happened earlier, but they marked the ball down at the 4-yard line.
So that's a 26-yard penalty. You got Casey in the fullback spot, fronting Foster on first down. And they give it to Arian Foster, and he will get 3 of the needed 4. So it'll be second down and goal from the 1-yard line.
And one thing that you have to worry about with this offense is the ability to bounce these plays outside. The Texans clearly, when you look at their numbers, much more efficient running outside the tackles, and so Clay Matthews is having to play a little wider out there when that run's coming at him, and they're finally finding some holes inside.
Second down and goal, and to the outside and into the end zone goes Arian Foster, flowing like water for the touchdown.
There's the patience we're talking about. Ryan Pickett, 79, gets off beautifully and is sitting right in the hole, but because Foster's not really exploding into that hole, is able to bounce it back to the outside. Ryan Pickett perfectly done, sitting in the backfield, and Foster still turned it into a touchdown.
Shane Graham for the point after. Takes them 9 plays, 6 of them on the ground, 3 passes, 80 yards, and 13 to the half, 14-7. The Texans awarded the franchise as the 32nd team back in 99, and then they started up in 02. Dom Capers was hired as the first head coach. David Carr was the first pick in the 02 draft. And then Gary Kubiak came in as their second head coach. Mario Williams, we call in 06, was their #1 pick. And everybody thought they should have picked Reggie Bush, but it turned out to be pretty good. Williams then as a free agent goes to Buffalo. There's Rick Smith on the left and the owner Bob McNair on the right. And Smith has done an outstanding job with personnel, as this team is now one to be reckoned with in the National Football League. Cobb to run it back up to the 22-yard line, and we'll check in with Michelle.
Al, a couple of injuries to update you on. Texans backup defensive end Tim Jamison. He was carted off the field, as you saw, after athletic trainers looked at his right foot and ankle. They've determined he is out with an Achilles injury. As for linebacker Nick Perry of the Packers, he is questionable because of a left knee problem. They have not yet ruled him out of the game, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. I guess that's the best you could ask for, because when Perry went down, it looked like one of those ACL deals, but there he is up and about, and we'll see if he can return. From the 22 now. First down. Green with some good running, and Green's a guy who's going to see a lot of action because you've got Cedric Benson on the injured reserve list, but that injured reserve list, the one where he can come back after 8 weeks. There, of course, is the missing inside linebacker Brian Cushing, hurt last week in the Monday night game at the Meadowlands. Will have ACL surgery soon, but done for the season. Second down and 2, and the pass to the outside is caught by Nelson, but appears to be short of the first down. Tackled there by Jonathan Joseph. And Boger taking a look at the change, and they'll mark it as a 3rd down and inches.
You know, Al, getting back to Brian Cushing just for a minute, he is a guy that I think it's already showing up a little bit with the way they're running the football out here. He was a linebacker that, was a tremendous pass rusher whenever he wanted to go forward. But probably the most important element of his game for this team was his ability to cover one-on-one backs and tight ends coming out. And without him out there, a little short, Brady James, Tim Dobbins, they're good, but they are not close to Brian Cushing, who was voted MVP in this team by his teammates.
Only good news about that is both Dobbins and James have played under Wade Phillips' systems. Dobbins in San Diego, and Wade was the defensive coordinator, and James in Dallas when Wade was the head coach.
But this is Brady James kind of football right now, this short yardage stuff. He is a guy that loves coming downhill and being physical, understands what's going on, the signal caller now. This is the way he likes to play football here.
3rd and inches. Green is the running back. Rodgers will keep it himself and will be able to angle his way over left guard. It looked like he'd be initially stopped, but just kept on leaning, and apparently has picked up the first down, and has.
That's called running to darkness right there. There's only one guy over here, and he ran right at him. I thought he was going to go the other way, and there he got it anyway.
Stopped initially, but kept on moving forward. Has the first down. Comes up in the gun now with 8:45 to go in the half from the 32. And this is Green, and Green gets tripped up just past the line of scrimmage. Tackled by Brooks Reed.
Well, if you're wondering why they're running so much, here is a safety, Glover Quinn, right here. So they're constantly running at him. They're double teaming the defensive tackle in front of him, and then forcing Glover Quinn to make a decision. Does he go left or right? That time he went to his right. That goes the other way.
2nd and 10. And the pass is caught by Green, and he gets taken down. That's a first down saving tackle by Joseph, setting up a 3rd down and short.
I'll tell you, this Alex Green's starting to make an impression, isn't he? I mean, they were talking about him in the meetings, had a big run last week to help him in that ball game, and if he can prove himself as a receiver against these linebackers for the Texans, he could become a weapon here.
Played his college ball in Hawaii and went to Butte Community College in Oroville, California before that, as did Aaron Rodgers before he went to Cal. And Jordy Nelson makes the catch, tackled by Joseph, and it's a first down for Green Bay.
Well, the more they've shown the ability to run the ball, the more single coverage they're getting on the outside. And this starting to look like the Packers' offense of old. The quick tempo, the shorter passes. Some of the people around the league I've talked to feel like that maybe Aaron Rodgers has been trying to force it down the field a little too much this year.
Green Bay with 18 passes and 9 runs. That's about their average, their ratio for the season, 2-1. And that's incomplete, intended for Jones, looking for the flag, and he gets one because Kareem Jackson didn't look back, and they throw the flag. Pass interference.
It's a great job by James Jones. He forced the official to call it.
Pass interference. Defense, number 25. Spot of the foul, automatic, first down.
Kareem Jackson is going to be in really perfect coverage, but as Jones jumps back through him to get to the ball, you're going to see the hand ends up going up, get the contact. The receiver has the right to come back to the ball. As a general rule, as a receiver, if you're moving back towards the football, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt in this league.
28-yard penalty. Now you got James Starks, postseason star a couple of years ago, who's been hurt, turf toe, and preseason he's in the game. Rodgers will sling it over the middle, and it is Jordy Nelson into the end zone for a touchdown. Allen Ball with the coverage, but there goes Nelson again for his 2nd touchdown of the night.
First of all, absolutely perfect protection up front. When you give Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, this kind of ability to step up and give him the one-on-one looks on the outside, you're going to get these kinds of results. They had the inside receiver clearing out. Jordy Nelson with all kinds of field to work and goes up and makes a strong catch.
3 touchdown passes for Rodgers with 6:45 to go in the first half. And the Green Bay Packers answer that Texas touchdown with one of their own. Back up on top by 14 again in Houston. Join the NFL and the American Cancer Society and support the Crucial Catch campaign. Visit NFL.com/auction to bid on authentic NFL pink gear worn by NFL players and coaches. Well, there is Rice Stadium, home of the Rice Owls, but Super Bowl VIII was played there, with Miami winning back in '74. One more look at Rice Stadium. You look at the home of the Owls, and to think that, well, in the old days, you could play a Super Bowl in a stadium that would look like that, with no luxury boxes, no rolling roofs.
Yeah, I remember when the Astrodome was the 8th wonder of the world, too.
Right.
Now it looks like a toy over there.
It does. Well, you drive up to this Reliant Stadium, and the Astrodome looks like a pimple. The ball in the 20-yard line, first down. And that's caught by Johnson, Andre Johnson, and he stays in bounds very close to a first down tackle by Williams. So Andre Johnson, through the years, 5 Pro Bowls. He's on his way to 10,000 career yards. The key to him this year, though, is to stay healthy. He's missed a lot of time over the last 2 seasons, and twice he's led the league in receiving yardage. 27 more to 10,000 for him. And there goes Foster to the outside. And he'll pick up a first down before running into the Green Bay bench.
Well, both of these teams have been playing a lot of bump and run coverage, trying to get some pressure on the quarterback, get that extra guy up to help against the run. The problem has been the game has been called very closely on the outside. A lot of pass interference calls have been the key plays so far. So now if you're a defensive coordinator, do you adjust to the fact that it is being called so tightly out there?
Do you?
Not yet. I'm not changing what I'm doing yet, but I might.
Second down and 5. And wide open is Johnson this time. They gave him a lot of cushion. Williams did, and he'll pick up the first down with 5.5 to go in the half.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Now, instead of being up and bump and run, now there's a huge cushion out here. They're playing this far off, so they don't have to deal with that trailing sort of technique where the defensive back is in a tough position.
Four catches for Johnson tonight for 47 yards. From the Texans' 48-yard line. Schaub in the pocket, guns it over the middle, and that'll pick up 11 more yards and a first down. Catch made by Garrett Graham, tight end.
Clay Matthews so quick on the outside, but when he lowers his head and does this bull rush now, coming into Dwayne Brown ends up in a back pedal, able to re-anchor though and hold up. A lot of guys, a lot of tackles in this league would have gotten run over with that shot.
Shot 9 of 12 for 108. Here goes Foster. Nothing there. A little bit there. To the 38 he goes.
I tell you, one of the most remarkable things I've seen is Charles Woodson playing outside linebacker. That's what he is. He played it last week when there were 2 tight ends, a fullback in the game, and the guy, I don't know what he weighs, 195 pounds, something like that, taking on blocks has been remarkable. You know the Houston Texans are going to try and come after him.
And that is DJ Smith.
Oh boy.
Linebacker for the Packers with the injury timeout. Sunday Night Football brought to you by Madagascar 3 on DVD and Blu-ray Tuesday, October 16th. By BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine. By Windows and by Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it is Miller time. This week, Brady James and the Texans hosted 20 breast cancer survivors for a Tickle Pink Spa Day right here at Reliant Stadium. Brady James lost his mom to breast cancer. So, of course, the league all month long, Tickle Pink. Second down and 7 after Smith came off the field, and we got Ben Jones moving here. False start.
Offense, number 60. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
And I can take a look at there is Smith on the table. What happened to him?
You've got that rule kicking in, coming back towards the line of scrimmage here. If you come back this way, you cannot hit in the head. And it looks like a shot to the head right there. No foul called. Of course, Brian Cushing injured on the same sort of play last week by Matt Slauson, but he went low.
Meanwhile, Schaub fumbles the snap. and has to fall on it at the 45-yard line. That's going to set up a 3rd and long with 3.5 to go in the half.
Just not the same sort of efficiency we've seen from the Houston Texans all year. And for the Green Bay Packers, they're getting pretty thin at that linebacker position. Of course, their star, Desmond Bishop, has been out for the year. And DJ Smith was his backup, so they're one thinner than that now.
And of course, Raji not playing tonight, the nose tackle. 3rd down and 14. Just a 3-man rush, so good time for him. Foster makes the catch, and Foster looking for that 1st down and comes up a couple of yards shy. Tackled there by Burnett. It's going to set up a 4th down and 1, and the Texans will opt for a field goal attempt.
Well, that was a big completion, a nice run by Arian Foster to give him a chance. Didn't pick up the 1st down, but gave him a possibility of getting 3.
So this will be for Shane Graham, a 51-yard field goal attempt. Donnie Jones to hold it. And Graham's kick is good. 2:15 remaining in the opening half, and Green Bay is on top by a score of 21-10.
Shane Graham wasn't sure if that one was going to hook and bounce or not. We've had a few of those shots in our lives, haven't we? He was giving it the old body language. Shane was started out. He hit it just outside the post just as he wanted it, and just hooked at the last second. Shane Graham started in Cincinnati, has one of the best percentages in league history, and yet he's had a little trouble staying on the team. He's bounced around. He's giving it the old phew.
Well, the Texans will have to do something tonight they haven't had to do all season long, because they have won 3 games in blowouts by 20, 20, and 24. They've won 2 games by 6 points each, but they had a big lead at Denver. Denver tried to chase him to the wire but couldn't get there. Pretty much the same thing with the Jets last week. Jets got back in the game on a kickoff return, but Houston won it by 6. So here they are in an unusual position, trailing. I'll turn back to the line coach going over things with his troops as Graham will kick off. Packers with all of their timeouts as we head to halftime. And Cobb will get met by Ryan Raymond. Second time tonight, Raymond's made a tackle on a kickoff return.
You don't see somebody as athletic as Randall Cobb get hit that flush very many times. That'll slow you down returning those kickoffs. That's perhaps the wildest thing in football. Bringing a kickoff at full speed off your goal line, as every one of those kind of animals are coming full speed at you. It is a bit of a rush, believe me.
So Rodgers with a big first half takes over at the 16-yard line. And Green will be taken down after a gain of a couple, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning at Reliant Stadium. Green Bay 21, Houston 10 on Sunday Night Football. Pizza Hut, a halftime show coming up. Giants win big in San Francisco. And the Ravens edge the Cowboys. Bob will talk about the rise of the rookie quarterback. So there'll be a little RG3 in there on the Toyota halftime show. 2nd and 8 with 2 minutes to go, and that'll be a first down. And stepping out of bounds is Jermichael Finley, playing with a sore shoulder and been fairly quiet tonight.
Well, one guy that you know they don't want to see anywhere close to Aaron Rodgers is J.J. Watt. So he's been getting double teamed, and now it's going to be on the rest of these guys to pick up the pace. Because if they can block him with 5, it's going to be a big night for Aaron Rodgers. Already has been.
From the 29. And Rodgers, who can run very well, Little example right there to the 45-yard line. He goes. Aaron Rodgers coming into the game, when he takes off, he can do it, averaging 5.4 per carry. That's a 15-yard gain right there.
And J.J. Watt just missed on that one. Kareem White almost looked like a screen pass the other way, and then Rodgers saw it wasn't there and took off.
Rodgers with good protection. That time the pass is underthrown, intended for James Jones on the outside. 2nd and 10 with 1:18 to the half.
Yeah, another one of those back shoulder kind of throws, but it was what they call a two-man coverage. So the corner has no responsibility deep, so he can just ride underneath James Jones and take that throw away. I think Aaron Rodgers just threw that one away.
Give it to Kuhn. Inside handoff. He'll take it to the 49-yard line. Of course, they chant his name as they do in Green Bay, and you know that Green Bay and Pittsburgh travel as well as any teams in the league. Mason Crosby getting limber on the sideline.
Significant 3rd down here. This one probably means points or not for the Green Bay Packers. Texans the top 3rd down defense.
3rd and 5. Rodgers hangs in the pocket and converts. And stepping out of bounds is Finley again. You have a flag down at the 41-yard line, and this is going to come back.
You know, you extend those arms as a receiver. It's not that hard to see.
Pass interference. Offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 3rd down.
There we go, right here. Working against Glover Quinn. You see the push, and that hurts. Now you're back and need a play here just to keep from punting the football.
3rd down 15 from the 39 with 44 seconds. And that pass will be taken by Cobb. Will get taken down, and now Houston should take an immediate timeout. Quinn making the tackle, and it's 4th down and 8, and I don't know why the Texans are not taking a timeout here.
They can't even decide if they're going to go punt or not. They better call timeout now.
Well, Rodgers
end up making it 4th down and 2.
Made it look like they were going to
timeout Houston.
Run the play, which I doubt seriously they would have. Well, I'm glad they're laughing about it. Well, Rodgers can laugh about it because I don't know why the Texans didn't take a timeout.
Yeah, he was
4th down. Yeah, 4th down, you're going to punt. You know you're going to punt.
Well, he had them scrambling around and trying to decide if they were going to go send their punt return team out there or leave their defense, and all the confusion almost allowed them to run out the half.
Well, if nothing else, you take a timeout anyway. It's going to be 4th down and 8 if you're the Texans to save time. And now McCarthy's actually talking about that call on Finley. He's talking about something else. But on the other side, and if you're the Texans, you have to take a timeout there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to get the ball back, inside the 20 somewhere, and they probably would have opted to not run it anyway or taken a knee or whatever. Well, so, you never know.
And now Matchday will come in to punt, but that cost them somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds. And they had all of their timeouts, so there goes the opportunity in all likelihood to at least move the ball into field goal range. And Green Bay will also be getting the second half kickoff. And Sean Martin will fair catch it at the 11-yard line with 12 ticks to go in the half, and we go to Michelle.
Wow, I told you earlier about linebacker Nick Perry, questionable with the left knee for the Green Bay Packers, and now DJ Smith with a right knee, also doubtful. He was carted off the field. It does not look good for DJ Smith.
And I'm not so sure that shouldn't have been called a foul on Dwayne Brown coming back towards the line of scrimmage. A blow helmet to helmet. That's what the new rule is supposed to be all about.
Brad Jones will take his spot. Good half for Rodgers, 15 of 21 for 187 and 3 touchdowns. And now from the 13-yard line, the Texans will end the half on a Foster run to the left side. And that's the end of the opening half. Crowd not happy with the clock management at the end of the half. And now, who's going to take a timeout here?
Green Bay has called its first charge timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 8 seconds.
Well, isn't that interesting? If nothing else, they're going to make them snap the ball. You never know. Do you get a mistimed exchange or whatever?
I tell you, I was stunned by what the Packers came out to play. They left a receiver one-on-one at the top of the field that time with really just in a prevent sort of situation. I was thinking if I'd been Matt Schaub, I would have audibled and taken my shot down the field. If they do that again, he just might.
Well, Green Bay is going to make the Texans go all the way to the end here. Clearly, the Texans just running out the clock with 8 seconds.
It's out there again if he wants to take a shot. Nope.
This Foster again won't do much for his stats as he will end the half. They've bottled him tonight. 13 carries for 22 yards. Packers get the second half kickoff. The score is 21-10 Green Bay at halftime. Enjoy the halftime show coming up after these messages. Is going to go deep, and it is pulled in by Jordy Nelson, and he's into the end zone for the touchdown. And the pass is caught for a touchdown by James Jones. Into the end zone goes Arian Foster, flowing like water for the touchdown. There goes Nelson for his second touchdown. Highlights of the first half. Back we come to Houston, Texas, 21-10. Green Bay leading it as we start the third quarter. You can follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Week 6, mid-October, Sunday night. First time NBC Sunday Night Football has been to Houston. But so far it's been Green Bay's night, up by 11, and they're going to get the ball after the Shane Graham kickoff, which Cobb will down in the end zone. And Chris, let's go back and take a look at the key plays. They were both set up by penalties in the first half.
Cannot give good teams second chances, and the Green Bay Packers took advantage of the offsides penalty, turned that into a touchdown, took advantage of the pass interference call, turned that into a touchdown. So this has been a bit of a surprise so far out here. Maybe the Houston Texans stepping up in class here tonight. They have not played an opponent of this caliber, and so far it's showing.
From the 20. Here's Green. I was thinking, coming into the game that there's a very big game for the Houston Texans for the franchise. Sunday Night Football, undefeated, taking on Green Bay, but in a way, a bigger game for the Green Bay Packers.
Had to have it, and they're playing like it. I mean, this is what good teams do. They had one game taken away in Seattle. They blew a big lead last week, and I'm sure that was part of the conversation at halftime.
2nd and 7.
May down lineman on the offense's right side. See if they try and run that way.
Rodgers throwing and threads the needle to Cobb. Penalty. Jerome Boger is the referee. Would have been a 14-yard gain. Might still be.
Holding defense number 21. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is the first down.
McCain with the holding call.
Randall Cobb on the outside. Let's see if McCain there's a grab of the jersey. That's what they're going to call. It has been called very tightly down the field, but that is a good call.
From the 37-yard line on first down. Nothing doing. That's Green. Let's go to Michelle.
Spoke to Gary Kubiak at halftime, Al. He said it could be worse. He said the Packers have just been quicker off the ball on both sides. We've got to relax and play. Mike McCarthy told me that the losses of his two linebackers, Nick Perry and DJ Smith, they are both out for the night. They are done. But he said he's got a lot more available. They have 7 more up tonight, Al. And he said this won't affect our defensive game plan.
Well, thank you, Michelle. We'll find out about that with Raji also out of the game. And Rodgers dancing, and look at that protection in that time, and sooner or later you're going to find somebody, and this time it's Randall Cobb taking it to the Texan 41 for a first down.
Well, Randall Cobb is a difference maker on this football team, and he's finally starting to get a chance to play. He's going to go out and then back underneath here. The last time Bryce McCain got beaten inside, so he sat off of Cobb by about 5 yards inside and still got beaten to the inside. Protection solid.
Green is tackled there by Watt. Mike McCarthy telling us last night in regard to Cobb, who's now caught 6 for 91. You can't get the ball in Cobb's hands enough.
Yeah, and Greg Jennings' absence has been noticeable, and the lack of big plays. But Randall Cobb, one of those guys, you just get him the football any way you can, and he can create big plays.
Second and 13 after that loss of 3.
Saw that double A-gap blitz coming and checked out and went back to shotgun.
And that's the one-handed snap from Saturday, and then it's caught by Jordy Nelson. Always seems to be there. To the 29-yard line he goes, and that's 6 catches for Nelson for 98 yards.
Pretty impressive catch, first of all, for Aaron Rodgers. And so far on the outside, Jordy Nelson is just eating up Jonathan Joseph, who also struggled last week. This is the Jordy Nelson we've been used to seeing.
Green, who's averaging about 3 yards a carry. This time he picks up a little bit more than that. Tackled by Kareem Jackson.
Now it is this running against the 4-man line that's made the difference. And Aaron Rodgers has stayed just patient enough against that 4-man line, calling enough runs to keep the Texans off.
On second and 4, there's Nelson again with a lot of cushion. Gets tackled just outside the 10-yard line by Jonathan Joseph. 7 catches into triple figures, 111 yards for Nelson tonight.
Well, they come up and play bump and run, have no success. Play off and inside, hit it to the back shoulder. Aaron Rodgers playing angry tonight. It's working.
From the 11.
Switch to protection, bring the back over to the other side.
And there go the Texans showing blitz, and there are no flags, and the pass is dropped on a slant. Nelson had some room. Jordy Nelson starting to look upfield before it got there. Second and 10.
Oh boy, Jordy Nelson's going to be sick on this one. They've got the little rub pick coming down here, and then Jordy Nelson coming underneath with all kinds of room. Probably walks in with that one. Just never looked the football in.
Second and 10, and Rodgers escapes. The flag goes down, though, and Rodgers will get into the end zone pending the call here. So Rodgers does his celebration, but let's see who the call is against.
Holding, offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty, replay.
Hold the celebration. Marshall Newhouse with the holding call.
Marshall Newhouse got beat so quickly on this one. He basically had to tackle Connor Barwin coming around there. You can see him with the arm wrapped around his waist, and at the end of this thing, Aaron Rodgers giving it the emphatic championship belt salute, and the fans giving it back to him because they could see the hold behind him.
Hold everything. Second and 20. Over the middle and incomplete. Dropped by Finley. That's nothing doing Green Bay. Glover Quinn with the coverage on the play. It'll be third down and 20.
Boy, it is getting to be an epidemic here for Michael Finley. I know he's got the bad shoulder, and believe me, we've all played with injuries, and it is tough to catch the ball when you're hurting, but he is hurting the Packers with those drops this year and last.
Greg Jennings can only hold his head on the sideline. Third and 20. And over the middle, and that's knocked down at the last moment. Intended for Finley and knocked away by Glover Quinn. Fourth down.
Beautifully done by Glover Quinn that time. Gets his head around late and ends up making this play. Right there, perfect coverage. And if he could just make the catch there, might have saved his team a big 3 points. They do like the fact that all of their guys, Daniel Manning, Glover Quinn, Kareem Jackson, Jonathan Joseph, all cornerback types in that secondary, gives them a lot of different options.
39-yard attempt by Crosby is good. There's a flag down here.
You're not allowed to push off and elevate yourself as a defensive player trying to block that kick. We'll see if that's the call.
Was a fourth and 20.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, leaping on the defense, number 98. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
A killer because it's a leaping penalty, which goes as unsportsmanlike conduct. It's Connor Barwin. You'll see it here.
There he is, got his hands on the back, jumping up onto the offensive lineman's back, and you cannot do that. You can't jump on somebody and then leap. They do that for safety reasons, and boy, the Houston Texans have been killing themselves tonight.
Well, that takes 3 points off the board, but gives them an opportunity for 7 instead. You had the offside penalty on the first drive of the game, which gave Green Bay a first down, and they cashed in for 7. And now we'll see. They can get a first down without getting a touchdown. Ball just outside the 10. And Rodgers is going to get sacked and have his helmet taken off by J.J. Watt. So Watt gets the sack at the 15-yard line.
And that hurts. Just beating him so quickly. TJ laying off the ball, and watch Aaron Rodgers at the end of this play. He's going to grab his head like, oh man. Probably trying to protect himself a little bit in case he was going to take another hit. J.J. Watt as advertised so far tonight.
2 sacks for him tonight. Leads the league with 9.5. Second down and 14. And Rodgers, with that play clock going down, will take a timeout. Crowd roaring. Green Bay by 11. Sunday Night Football being brought to you by Olive Garden, where the first course is always on us by the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is already here. By Toyota Care, caring for you and your car. And by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. There they go into Friday Night Lights. The Katy Tigers beating Katy Taylor 56-7 the other night. Number 1 5A team in Texas, Andy Dalton, who we'll see next week. The Bengals quarterback went to Katy High. Second and 14 after the timeout by Green Bay. And here they come, and the pass to the outside is incomplete. Randall Cobb could not hang on. Third and 14 upcoming.
I think the Packers have just decided that they're not going to let J.J. Watt beat them anymore. They're going with the double team / triple team, had a back in there, and not this time. You could start swatting them, but you're not getting there. It's interesting what he was saying about that, right? If he doesn't get there in the first second, he knows he's not, so that's when he starts looking to knock balls down.
3rd down, 14. Pass is caught. That's Cobb, and Cobb will take the ball just inside the 5, so they will stop them short and set up another field goal attempt. And, well, who knows what's going to happen at the end of this now with a flag coming in.
This is against the Texans.
Yep. And Jermichael Finley is signaling it
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 38, blow to the head, half the distance to the goal, first down.
Danielle Manning, who's been around a long time, and you would think would know you can't do it. Bottom of the pile, there it is.
All right, now that's great. You're going to fight. You're going to hit him in the head with a helmet on. You know, what does it do? You might as well have given him a kiss.
Kiss of death.
Oh my, I've never seen the team self-destruct like this.
Well, it's 1st down and goal. The Packers have another shot. Shaw pacing with frustration on the sideline from the 2 now. They give it to Green, and Green will take it to the 1-yard line. So they've got to stop him again. This time it's Manning making the tackle, coming up from the safety spot, 2nd and goal.
Danielle Manning fired up, but that's how you should play the game right there, with good hard hits. Boy, oh boy, this is a team that has had everything go their way. Maybe this is just the way they react to being down. I've never seen them play anywhere close to this with the kind of frustration and silly mistakes they've been making.
This is the opening drive of the half with 8:20 to go in the 3rd. And Rodgers will throw, and in the end zone it is caught, taken in by Jordy Nelson. Great catch, Jordy Nelson with good coverage that time, able to get enough position, and Rodgers put it in perfectly, and Nelson is in the end zone for the 3rd time tonight.
You can't play defense a whole lot better than Glover Quinn did. But for Jordy Nelson, this has been his night. This is what they've been waiting for, with Jermichael Finley injured and not very effective, with Greg Jennings out. They needed Jordy Nelson to be the guy to step up, and Aaron Rodgers has been feeding the ball all night.
Mason Crosby for the point after. And the penalties just killing the Texans. Because it's now a 3-possession game. 28-10, Pack. This Saturday, 2 of the nation's top defenses collide in South Bend as the Irish host Brigham Young on Notre Dame Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on NBC.
Starting to get interesting in South Bend, isn't it?
Very. Went again yesterday in overtime. Meanwhile, Nelson 3 touchdowns, tying the career high. He had 3 in that game last year that Matt Flynn ended the season with against Detroit. And 8.5 yards in the end zone. Keyshawn Martin's going to come out with it. And the rookie will take the ball out to the 25-yard line, and winds up in the hands of one of his mates with 8:08 to go in the 3rd. 28-10, Green Bay.
Huge mistakes on the part of Gary Kubiak's squad. Kept that driver alive for 16 plays. First, Connor Barwin started it off with the illegal jumping on the back of the offensive lineman. Danielle Manning slugging his way off the bottom, leading to the Jordy Nelson touchdown. But upon further review, Danielle Manning, his knee got pinned underneath him right in there, and he was sort of tapping out as much as he was punching out.
Now the Texans, after that 16-play drive by Green Bay, Johnson makes the catch. It's a short gain. And it'll be 2nd down and 8 for Houston.
You know, I know you're behind here, and you're probably going to have to throw the ball a little bit more, but you sure would like to see what this defense looks like now without Nick Perry out there, without DJ Smith out there, and B.J. Raji.
2nd down and 8. Sean to the outside, and this time he finds Kevin Walker for a 1st down. Sam Shields covering on the play. Half the quarter is gone. 7:32 to play in the 3rd.
Packers nowhere close to being ready for the snap of that ball that time. They were just walking around. So now it's the Texans and Matt Schaub trying to pick up the tempo a bit.
To the ground, where they bottle up Foster all night long. His long gain tonight is 5 yards, and he's carried the ball 14 times.
And they're playing a nickel defense. They've got Charles Woodson right in here, and they have 2 tight ends in the game. And so basically they're allowing Charles Woodson to play an outside linebacker position, and the Texans, the vaunted Texas running game, still can't run the football. I mean, it's a little stunning, and maybe their opponents just haven't been of the class of the Green Bay Packers, and it's starting to show.
2nd and 8. Ben Tate is the running back here. Play fake, pressure put on, and down he goes, and that is A.J. Hawk coming flying in to take Schaub down. 3 sacks tonight.
One of the things that I've noticed, Al, is that when A.J. Hawk gets to play in space, he's a much better player. And this whole package with Charles Woodson in there and the nickel package creates a lot more space on the field. And he's a guy that can run sideline to sideline, can blitz. I think he's playing better than he has in a long time watching him so far this year.
So much attention paid to Matthews. You're going to see Hawk get free from time to time, real free as he does there. 3rd and 20. Schaub going to throw it into the ground. And all of a sudden, it's a sound not heard here at Reliance Stadium for about a calendar year as you see Brandon Sane being carted back to the dressing room for Green Bay.
Yeah, so much for the coming out party on Sunday Night Football, huh? I mean, it really, when you watch this team play, they're dependent on their running game. And when their running game goes, their play action looks different and their bootleg stuff looks different. And when the running game doesn't work, I guess it looks like this.
Jones's kick. Cobb will take it to the 23 and be met by Alan Ball immediately. So after a long Packer drive, a quick loss of the ball by Houston, 28-10. Sunday Night Football night. Next week we go to Cincinnati. Ben Roethlisberger, Andy Dalton, a couple of hungry teams. It's the Bengals, it's the Steelers, Chris Collinsworth's hometown a week from tonight. From the 20-yard line, Green Bay starts this drive, and that's swatted in the air and incomplete, and that's Connor Barwin who got the hand up to flick it away. 2nd down and 10.
Oh boy, and that's what you need if you're the Texans. You need a play like that. Barwin gets the ball straight up in the air. You can see the panic on Aaron Rodgers' face as this thing is just sitting in midair and nobody can get to it. Been that kind of a night so far for the Texans. That's one in the first 5 games they probably pick off and score a touchdown.
League average is 2%. The Texans blocking almost 9% of the opponent's passes, and a lot of those, of course, for J.J. Watt, and now there's no gain here for Alex Green. 3rd and long upcoming.
Well, now they've got all the tight ends in the game, and all of a sudden now this nickel package is no longer there. Glover Quinn has been the guy they've been taking advantage of as they play him at the inside linebacker spot and running the football right at him, getting their big offensive linemen down there on him. But now as they try to slow down the pace of the game a little bit, not seeing that package, but they are back in it now.
3rd and 10. Rodgers fires over the middle, and that is Nelson making the catch, and he's tackled by Manning, and his forward progress will be just short of a 1st down.
Looked a little like a Super Bowl play, I remember. Trying to reach out. Good play by Jordy Nelson. So watch that yellow line there. Spins, just never quite gets it there, and obviously have to punt it here. So a good stop that time by the Texans defense, and they needed it.
I think if Kevin Dyson with a little bit more at stake in the Super Bowl after the '99 season. The kick by Maste is fielded by Martin, and the rookie Keyshawn Martin with a good run back out to the 35-yard line. So a big stop for Houston to get the ball back quickly. Guys who won the Heisman Trophy most career games in the NFL. Well, the Raiders love to collect Heisman winners. Tim Brown leading that pack. Testaverde, then Marcus Allen, a lot of his career with the Raiders. And Woodson spent 8 years with the Raiders, now in his 7th season in Green Bay. 4:05 left in the quarter. Deep drop by Schaub, who throws wide open, making the catches. Daniels with a lot of room to roam and stays in bounds all the way downfield before he's knocked out of bounds by Tramon Williams. And Schaub comes down the field and says, let's huddle up after a gain 27 yards.
Just a blown coverage, I think, by A.J. Hawk right here. They had man coverage everywhere on the field, and for some reason, nobody picked up Daniels, and a little momentum now starting to shift the way of the Texans.
From the 38. Throw, and that's caught for a 9-yard gain on a slant by Johnson, tackled by Williams.
This is one of those situations we haven't seen the Texans in very much this year. They have simply been dominant from the beginning. Johnson just the old Indianapolis Colts play, the double in, and let the big guy catch it and see if he can break a tackle.
6 catches for him tonight, 2nd and short. And getting the 1st down, but falling down after a gain of just a couple is Arian Foster.
But they're starting to get it going now a little bit. You can see that now if you hit a couple of passes, come back to the stretch play, maybe now some of those bootleg actions that haven't been so good, and maybe they'll start looking like the Texans here.
On the 25. Blitz coming. Schaub hanging in and guns it incomplete, intended for Daniels. 2nd and 10.
Now, one of the things that they like about Charles Woodson looping in here is you end up with some single blocking on Clay Matthews. So now he comes down inside, and then it's up to Dwayne Brown one-on-one in protection. That time he got it done.
Daniels to the slot, Martin outside, Johnson wide right. And that will be caught by Keyshawn Martin. The rookie takes it to the 13-yard line.
Hey, I like the looks of Keyshawn Martin. They are looking for that third receiver. He's looked good returning kicks tonight. Really good short space quickness, and you get a chance to see it here. Little maybe the Randall Cobb of the Houston Texans.
4th round pick out of Michigan State as his first catch of the night. From the 13. Bunch formation to the left side. Schaub looks the other way. Incomplete into double coverage intended for Johnson, with Williams covering on the play and help from M.D. Jennings as well. 2nd and 10.
There's only a couple of superstar players you try to work this one into. There was help over the top, but when you have a guy like Andre Johnson, your belief is you throw it up that high, have a chance. Tramon Williams, maybe a little grab there. Owen Daniels doing a good job on Matthews on the other side.
1:45 left in the quarter. 18-point lead, second down and 10. And the pass is caught. Wide open is the rookie Martin. And Keyshawn Martin. They're signaling touchdown, but the officials say no. The Texans signaling for a touchdown, but the ball will be spotted just outside the goal line.
Outside receiver going to come back underneath here. Let's see if he gets into the end zone.
Well, you can challenge it if you're Kubiak to say it's a touchdown. It was ruled no touchdown.
His knee may have gone down as his body twisted. Remember, it's where the ball is, nothing else. The ball there, not across the line.
And he opts not to challenge. They'll take their chances on first and goal. Foster is the running back. They give it to Arian Foster, and he's going to get stopped short of the goal line. Brad Jones and A.J. Hawk are there. It'll be second and goal.
A.J. Hawk coming right over here, I believe it is. Coming across the formation. Watch this collision. That's a big bat to knock backwards. They could surprise Foster, too.
15 carries, 28 yards for Foster tonight. Second and goal. Give it to him again to the outside, and he's into the end zone for a Houston touchdown. 65 yards, 9 plays, 3 rushes on that drive. It takes less than 4 minutes, and they make it a 2-possession game again.
Well, as soon as you said the Packers had an 18-point lead, I'm sure there were Packer fans going, uh-oh, heard that before just a week ago.
18-point lead at halftime. Went away in Indianapolis. Low snap. Hold gets down by Jones, and it's booted through. There's 17 seconds remaining in the third quarter. It's 28-17, Green Bay.
Arian Foster's going to set this up inside, and then they're going to get the edge walled off. So as a back, you want to make them believe you're going inside and then bounce it so the pursuit disappears. And that was a big drive. Plenty of time in the game, but that drive allows the Texans to stay with their style of offense.
Foster taking a look at his career, undrafted out of the University of Tennessee, then led the league in rushing in 2010, 125 yards from scrimmage per game. That's the best in the league. Third fastest to 5,000 scrimmage yards in NFL history. And the only active player with 100 or more yards rushing in the game against the Steelers and the Ravens. You look at him and the Texans in the last 32 games between Foster and Tate, 19 times has a guy rushed for 100 yards. Over the last 32 games for the Packers, the equivalent of 2 full seasons, 100-yard rushing games by a back, 0. 2 yards in. Here's Cobb. And Cobb out past the 30 with a good run back. And Randall Cobb, the guy that McCarthy says you can't get the ball in his hands enough, sets them up in good shape.
I think he's going to be saying that about Jordy Nelson next week. And, you know, it's taken a little time, a little transition, but the big plays are back now for Jordy Nelson. He was really exploded on the season a year ago. Oh, look at that little double move at the top end for that touchdown, and then the fade to the back corner. Without Jennings, he has to become the man, and this one he has.
3 touchdowns for him tonight. 9 ticks remaining in the quarter from the 43-yard line. Give it to Green. And Green, very effective tonight. That's a gain of 9. And that takes us to the end of the third with Green Bay leading Houston 28-17. Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Tonight's aerial coverage is being brought to you by Geico. As you look at downtown Houston, Texas. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle DeFoya. Sunday night football. Texans come in undefeated, but that's in jeopardy right now, down by 11, and Green Bay has the ball, 2nd down and 1 at the Texan 48-yard line. They're the X the H out. Get the spelling right.
Been a few people want to X out the whole thing.
2nd and 1. Play clock all the way down. They just get it off. Rodgers taking a shot on 2nd and long. You got Brady James putting the heat on. The pass is incomplete. 3rd and 1.
Now this is the back. You don't like seeing this too often. Middle linebackers blitzing right there. That means Alex Green's got to come over and try and pick him up. And obviously not his strong suit. But now Wade Phillips getting back to what he was doing early in the game when Rodgers burned him with some deep plays, bringing the pressure and playing the single coverage on the outside.
3rd and 1 against that Wade Phillips defense. Rodgers wide open at the 30-yard line is Tom Crabtree, and he waltzes into the end zone. 48 yards on a 3rd and 1 off a roll. And that's 5 touchdown passes tonight for Aaron Rodgers.
Glover Quinn's going to get hypnotized right in the middle of the field. I think that's him. He sees the play fake, gets fooled. Crabtree runs right by him. What a great play call by Mike McCarthy. 3rd and short. Pretended to block for just a second, and Glover Quinn got burned. Give Rodgers credit. He took a big shot to deliver that football. McCarthy said, yeah, that's pretty good.
Brooks Reed knocks him down. Ties a career high with 5 touchdown passes. Extra point by Crosby is good. And the Packers on top 35-17 on the road. That's Texans owner Bob McNair and his wife Janice, in a partnership with the YMCA, helped open the Texans YMCA last year. First YMCA to be named after a professional sports team. Bob McNair, the founder of this team, and right now his club in dire straits, down by 18 to go to that Packer D here.
So far the Texans 20 rushing attempts for 40 yards. Arian Foster 17 for just 29 yards. Stopping the stretch play with Charles Woodson at outside linebacker. I would have never believed it coming in here. B.J. Raji out, D.J. Smith, Nick Perry getting hurt in this game, and yet it has been Clay Matthews and company that has just shut down what was probably thought of as the best running game in the NFL, or certainly one of them, and that's been the difference.
All right, so there's no running game left right now when you're down by 18 with a quarter to go, and Schaub will throw incomplete, intended for Andre Johnson. And they were running outside that stretch play, taking a lot of the old Denver stuff with Kubiak coming with Shanahan's offense. 60% of the runs outside the tackles, highest percentage of the National Football League since 09. 4.5 when they ran outside, and only 3.8 when they ran it inside.
But what's really impressed me, Al, is the fact that they've kept them from going to those cutbacks as well. You know, they were very disciplined on the backside of those runs, because so many times that's where Arian Foster will cut back and make his big plays.
2nd down and 10. Schaub throws into a lot of traffic, and it is picked off. Sam Shields gets in front of Keyshawn Martin and intercepts at the 27-yard line.
Sam Shields never took a step backwards, just sitting there waiting on this throw. Does he make the catch? Certainly looks like it from there.
From that angle for sure.
Look at him. He doesn't even go back. There's nobody behind him. It's Keyshawn Martin goes deep. There's no help, and he just squatted on the play.
Nothing to challenge there. And that will be the first turnover of the game. They Maybe the first turnover for Houston, but they have just killed themselves with those earlier penalties. At the 27 now. Rodgers. So thinking about taking time off the clock. Green to the 22, and I go back to what Rodgers said last night. We mentioned it before. How's it going? You know, just as an opener, and he goes, hey, the sky's falling outside the building. Inside, we're just fine.
He said, I'm tired of answering questions about what's wrong. He said, there's nothing wrong here. We played a couple of good defenses. And then he was saying, he goes, I guarantee you that not only do we think we're the favorite going into their building, they think we're the favorite going into that building. And I thought that was such a bold statement to make, but as they've come out here tonight, it's exactly what's happened.
2nd and 5 from the 22. Green. And Green carrying the load tonight because Cedric Benson is on injured reserve for at least 8 weeks, and he's done a nice job. The rookie, or the second-year man out of the University of Hawaii, and we go to Michelle.
Well, also out now is Brandon Sain, the other running back, out with a left knee injury. You mentioned Cedric Benson being out for 8 weeks. Brandon Sain now out. So Alex Green and James Starks are the only running backs. But remember, Starks has that lingering turf toe injury as well, Al.
Right. He's been in very little tonight, Michelle. We saw him for a couple of plays. We've seen Kuhn for a few, but mainly it's been to the air. What else is new? The other thing Rodgers said last night is we have to throw it more, which was an interesting thing to say for a team that was throwing it 2 times for every 1 time they were running it. They measure here. And it will be a first down for the Packers.
But I really think Aaron Rodgers has called a masterful game. He has basically tried to find Glover Quinn wherever he's been and been running the football right at him. And it's been the effectiveness of the Packers running game that has really been the difference in this one. They have run it enough to take some pressure off of Aaron Rodgers, help the offensive line with their pass protection so that those pass rushers of the Texans just can't fly up the field.
McCarthy, whose pedigree is offense, is calling in the play on first down from the 17-yard line. And while we're on that, as Green gets tackled at the line of scrimmage, Chris, we should talk about Joe Philbin, who was the offensive coordinator. And sometimes you don't think about an offensive coordinator when you have an offensive-minded head coach. But Philbin did a good enough job that he wound up as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And he's been, you talk to some of the Packer people, a fairly significant loss.
Yeah, and I thought Aaron Rodgers made a good point. He's like, he's a great game day adjustment kind of guy. You know, it never comes out exactly the way you think it is. But he also said, I'll bet you he did a lot of good things on the 3rd floor where those coaches are that we don't know anything about. And maybe the Packers are still adjusting to his loss.
2nd and 11, and Rodgers will throw. And is it one-handed? Yes, for a touchdown by Jones. James Jones has now scored 2 touchdowns in each of the last 3 games. 18 yards. Rodgers throws touchdown pass number 6.
Again, just the off inside man-to-man coverage that if you're going to try to pressure the quarterback, you have to do. And James Jones, Jordy Nelson have just won the battle with tremendous catches just like that. That is outstanding. I mean, all you can do in that situation is try and flick it back to yourself, and he's hot. That was a good catch.
7 touchdowns on the year for James Jones.
Think anybody's going to be talking about how bad Aaron Rodgers is now?
At least not for a week. You know this league.
Wow.
Extra point is good. 42-17. The Pack is back, at least for one Sunday night. When your picture is alongside Don Hudson, you've really done something big. Hudson, one of the greats of all time, not only in Packer history, but NFL history. Most consecutive games with 2 or more TD catches, 3. And that's the category that Mr. Jones finds himself in with Mr. Hudson after tonight. As the kick goes through the end zone. 42-17. Donald Driver hasn't done much tonight, but he's still all smiles, dancing with the stars. Well, this coming Thursday, Olympic gold medalist Ryan Lochte will join in on 30 Rock, all new 30 Rock Thursday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central and Mountain, right here on NBC. Right here in Houston, where this is going to kind of be a little bit of a coming out party for the Texans, and this turned out to be a big night for Green Bay. You've got Justin Forsett now, the running back here, for a gain of 2. We were talking about as Sam Shields is now down, so the training staff comes out and they'll go to work on the Green Bay corners. Got an issue obviously with his right leg or knee. So McCarthy will come out. Dom Capers, meanwhile, the first coach of this franchise, is able to come back to Houston, where he said he had a great time those 4 seasons, and as the Packer defensive coordinator, and a guy who's been not maligned by any stretch of the imagination, but last year his defense was last in the league, still big time in takeaways. Now he's got another issue in Sam Shields as they work on him. You of course know the term separated at birth. Well, as soon as Donald Driver turns around, they were close though, brothers. That's Moses Driver on the right, looking on tonight as Big Bro is doing his thing, and Schaub gets whacked as he throws. After Shields needs assistance in getting off the field, he hurt his ankle, and the pass here incomplete, and Schaub gets whacked on that play. Let's take a look at Shields' injury.
Like he was holding his ankle. He kind of gets his knee whacked there. They're working on the ankle over there.
So just another injury to that defense, which has certainly done its job tonight. Jared Bush, great special teams player, comes in to replace him. 3rd and 7. And that's caught by Johnson for a first down up to the 39-yard line as we tick down to 11.5, and that's over 10,000 yards receiving now for Andre Johnson in his 10th season. And Shields having the look of a guy and the exasperation of a guy who says, this may be a little serious. There's Andre Johnson, 6th fastest to 10,000 yards on the list, headed by Torrey Holt. Shaw throws underneath, and Johnson again out to the 39, tackled by M.D. Jennings.
You know, Arian Foster only needed 59 yards tonight to take over the rushing lead, and I thought that was a cinch. I wasn't even thinking about that one with all the injuries over there to the Packers, and boy, just the opposite tonight. They came out throwing the ball, and maybe they knew something we didn't.
Holding Foster to less than 2 yards a carry tonight, despite the fact he's gone in for 2 touchdowns on very short runs, 2nd and 8. And that is taken by Justin Forsett, and he gets all the way into the Packer territory to the 41-yard line, where Mike Daniels runs him down, and we go to Michelle.
Well, Sam Shields, you can see there on the cart, ready to go in. The Packers tell me he was kicked in the shin, and they, didn't want to rule him out, but at the same time didn't think the way the game was going that they'd need him. So nothing more official than he's been kicked in the shin and now on his way in for further evaluation.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And of course, nothing rules you out more than getting a cart ride to the locker room.
That's the only negative for the Packers tonight. Too many of those.
From the 42 over the middle, and Matthews makes the tackle immediately after Garrett Graham hauls in the pass for a very short gain.
So many times teams slide their protection towards Clay Matthews, so this time they drop him in coverage. And the receiver that time, Garrett Graham, wished they hadn't. Everything Clay Matthews does is sort of looks over the top, doesn't it? I mean, just wild out there.
And Forsett again, who would be their number 3 back. Picks up some decent yardage here and a first down.
Charles Woodson coming up and making another tackle. I don't know if you can see with those shoulder pads. He said the last time he actually played outside linebacker in the game was when he was 9 years old. I think he brought his shoulder pads with him. Those are no more than the kind of shells they have and wear in practice a lot of times.
Yardage again being picked up by Forsett. Gary Kubiak, his 7th season here. We talked about the Denver influence. Of course, he spent so many seasons as the backup to John Elway during the glory years for John in Denver.
What did he say about being the backup?
Oh, it was great. Remember we asked him the other day, we said, didn't he get frustrated? Did you ever ask for a trade? Well, Schaub throws and it's incomplete. And Kubiak said, hey, I knew I couldn't play. I was just hoping they couldn't find out.
Very humble guy, as is Wade Phillips, and they understood fully 5-0 is tremendous, but it's a long year. And I'll tell you, it doesn't get any easier. Baltimore comes in here next week. They have to go to Chicago after a bye week and a game against Buffalo. And they have not played one of the top teams in the league thus far, and I think everybody's a little surprised at what this has looked like.
3rd and 2. Toss it out to Ben Tate. And he'll pick up the first down, getting inside the 21-yard line. 8 minutes to go.
I'll tell you, I've been impressed with some of these backups in here tonight as well. Jarrell Worthy's made some nice plays. Mike Neal along that defensive line. Ryan Pickett having to move over. The Packers are showing some depth that they haven't necessarily shown in the past, and that's a good sign. Now you're always a little concerned. B.J. Raji set out this game, which is a great positive. They were able to sit him out and still win like this.
From the 20. And Shaw will throw, and it's tipped away at the last moment. Martin might have been out of bounds anyway. It'll be 2nd down.
Well, Keyshawn Martin working against Casey Hayward on the outside. Going to try and double move him, and Casey Hayward, very athletic play. He's been playing the slot in the 2nd-round pick. A lot of rookies on this team. The first 6 picks, right, on the defensive side.
Big premium placed on that side of the ball. 2nd down and 10. And that's deflected and incomplete. And you would figure when you have the last ranked defense in the league, there would be a premium placed on that side of the ball.
Yeah, and it's made a difference. They've moved up here, and there's the picks. Of course, Nick Perry got hurt tonight. Worthy played well. Hayward just made that play. Daniels a valuable backup now. McMillan has played a lot. So all these guys have been a factor, and so many times, you know, we talk about it, war of attrition, all that stuff. But the team you start with in September rarely looks like that team by the time you get to December, and so you better have some other guys that can play.
And that pass is batted and intercepted by Casey Hayward. Hayward with a tremendous interception. Very athletic, and then he runs it out to the 13-yard line. A rookie out of Vanderbilt. His name just up on that list, drafted in the 2nd round.
This is a fantastic play. Rookie on the outside, and Hayward's going to get his head around. So many times you get college corners that come in this game, and they get so used to being able to be physical down the field. Hayward played that beautifully, tipped it to himself. So what the heck, I only get to touch it every once in a while. I'm bringing this baby out.
You know, I got to touch it last week because he intercepted Andrew Luck on a pass intended for Reggie Wayne for his first career pick, and there's number 2 for the rookie.
Yeah, kind of nice. Sam Shields, your starting cornerback, gets hurt, and you go, oh my goodness, we're in trouble now. And then Casey Hayward makes 2 plays like that.
So Schaub coming into the game had been sacked 3 times all year. He's sacked 3 times tonight. He's been intercepted twice all year, and he's intercepted twice tonight.
7 stop! 7 stop! Get him! 319! 319!
And the Packers can play play a little clock ball here with Green tackled at the 12-yard line. Here they are, the half dozen for Aaron Rodgers tonight. He got started early after the offside call on the punt. Jordy Nelson. Rodgers with a ton of time right there. Jones, his first of 2. Nelson's second of 3. There was Nelson's third. There was Crabtree on a terrific third down play. And Jones again. 6 touchdown passes for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, what is wrong with Aaron Rodgers, huh?
Yep.
All kinds of issues with the Packers. He might have a little he might have a little I told you so session with the media afterwards. He was not too happy going into this game. Doesn't look like he's too happy there either.
And Rodgers saying to the bench, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Third down and 10. Well, Chicago had a bye. The Vikings lost at Washington, so they go to 4-2. That helps Green Bay. Green Bay will go with a win tonight to 3-3. And Detroit coming from behind to knock off Philadelphia. Big win for the Lions to avoid going to the 1-4 precipice.
Timeout, Green Bay. They're second.
Green Bay
this will be a 30-second timeout.
Rodgers just needs an extra moment here.
Yeah, I think he may be coming out of the game here too. I mean, you've got this one well in hand. They were working on that calf earlier in the game, and you can't have this guy limping around. So I think Mike McCarthy wanted to ask him himself.
Backup is Graham Harrell,
who really could use a few snaps, because last time Graham Harrell was in, if I remember correctly, had that fumble that cost him a few weeks ago.
Remember last year they had Matt Flynn, who was a great backup, and Flynn wound up signing with Seattle, and now he can't supplant Russell Wilson just yet, because Wilson was masterful today in that Seattle come from behind win against New England. The league, crazy, as always. Rodgers stays in, third down and 9.
Ready, go!
And that'll be batted at the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
Well, really, the Texans have nobody to blame but themselves tonight. You're not going to match up against the Green Bay Packers and make the kind of big mistakes, penalties, mental errors, silly mistakes, and compete with this team. Even though you are 5-0 and you're playing at home, and sometimes you win 5 games in a row, or in the case of Matt Schaub, 9 in a row.
Ooh, and they blocked the punt, and it's Raymond who comes in to block it. Special teams maven tonight, and DeVere Posey winds up in the end zone, recovering it for a touchdown. And Rodgers looks up, what did I miss? So at 5.5, there is still a pulse.
Raymond's going to come right through here. Crabtree blocks down, and Raymond goes around, and DeVere Posey, who had the first mistake tonight, comes up with a touchdown. Raymond came to play anyway.
So Posey falls on it. Graham for the point after. It's still going to be a 3-possession lead. That kick is good, and you figure they just onside kick it here. Try to see what happens. 42-24. Next Sunday night to Cincinnati we go for Sunday Night Football. Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers, Andy Dalton and the Bengals. Football night gets us started 7 o'clock Eastern time. Baltimore wins today, knocks off Dallas. Cincy loses to Cleveland to go to 3-3. Pittsburgh lost to Tennessee the other night. So the Steelers trying to get back to 500, and the Browns, who were the last winless team in the league, are no longer winless. There's Jeff Saturday, the man on the right, who's the longtime center for Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, became a free agent now in his 14th season. Took a look at Denver. Payton wanted him to go out there when he was a free agent. Also looked at Tennessee, but felt that Green Bay had called him first, and it sort of worked out best geographically for his family.
Yeah, but he was the first to admit, this has not been an easy transition for him. In Indy, he said, hey, I knew where everybody was on every single play. They do things a little differently. I have to keep my head down more in this style of offense. And he admits he's just sort of catching up at this point, but looked better tonight than it did last week for sure.
Green Bay expecting the onside kick, and they will get one as it comes to the near side, and that's fielded there by Tramon Williams, who makes sure he covers up, and they'll take the ball to the 46-yard line. What about the night for J.J. Watt?
That's been good. He had a sack taken away from him a week ago, but he made up for it tonight. There's one of his tip balls that he's known for, and then a sack. Rodgers tried to scramble out, beat T.J. Lang quickly for sack number 2. So despite the fact that Clay Matthews has been all over the place tonight, it is J.J. Watt who retakes the lead with sacks, and that's pretty amazing. Now, he's an interior player, not one of those outside edge rushers. Harder to get those sacks in there.
And that's what's so stunning about it. Graham Harrell comes in to play quarterback and hands the ball off to James Starks, working his way back from a turf toe injury. Starks a couple of years ago came on and gave Green Bay some oomph in postseason and earned a Super Bowl ring. And the Texans take a timeout here.
Yeah, and for Packers fans, Graham Harrell being in here makes them worry even more about Aaron Rodgers. There have been a lot of questions. Could Graham Harrell get it done if anything ever happened to Aaron Rodgers? So hangnails concern Packer fans on that guy. What a night tonight. It's not very often that we talk to quarterbacks who, in those our meetings with them, they usually have sort of pat answers, but it was Aaron Rodgers spewing fire yesterday when we talked to him. He was not happy.
Yeah, but then he sat down with Bob for the pregame interview and played nice.
Yeah, I think it was my question that triggered him.
2nd and 8, and it was John Kuhn to the 50-yard line. There was a couple of articles in the Wisconsin papers that got him stirred up.
It didn't take much to light the fuse, did it?
Nope.
Second charge.
It was so funny. We were just talking. I said, "Oh, boy, you guys just made it look so easy last year." Boom, that was it. It was like a 10-minute monologue after that. It's not easy. I've been trying to tell everybody.
Aligning the stars, Aaron Rodgers, 6 touchdowns. Nelson has caught 3 of them. And Cobb, 102 yards in addition to running back kickoffs and punts. Of course, you can add Jones with 2 touchdown catches. Crabtree with a big touchdown to pretty much put the game away. And for Green Bay, it's on to St. Louis next week to end this 3-game road swing. And Green to the 48-yard line, and the Texans will spend their final timeout. The Green Bay schedule, when you look ahead now, talking about St. Louis, then they go home. They've got Jacksonville, they've got Arizona, should be favored in both. Bye week at Detroit, interesting. At the Giants, that's the Thanksgiving Sunday, and that's our game on NBC. And then, as you can see, they've got 3 division games in a row with Minnesota, Detroit, and at Chicago. And the one good thing, despite their 2-3 record, is that in their division, they've already knocked off Chicago. So they've got to catch Chicago, but have a chance to win the season series against them. And a fair catch is called for and made at the 10-yard line by Keyshawn Martin. Now, what about the Texans, who came in 5-0? Next week, Baltimore with their 4-1 mark, they'll come in here. Then there's a bye week. Then the Buffalo Bills, who knocked off Arizona in overtime today, come in. Then it's at Chicago, and that's an NBC Sunday night game. Jacksonville in here at Detroit, at Tennessee, at New England, Indianapolis, Minnesota, and there's one other game there. Should be at the on the end of that schedule at the On the 30th is Indianapolis again. So they're going to play the Colts twice in the last 3 weeks.
And Ray Lewis with the Ravens coming in here. Apparently a torn tricep today, and that will be a major story moving forward for that team.
Meanwhile, here's T.J. Yates, the backup quarterback who took over last year after Schaub got hurt and after Matt Leinart got hurt and led them to a victory against Cincinnati in a wild card game before losing to Baltimore. So Yates, the second-year quarterback from North Carolina, 5th-round pick last year, will finish this one up.
You know, the guy that I thought had a big night tonight was Randall Cobb. Not only did he make plays in the slot, a lot of the times that they would have looked for a Jermichael Finley kind of guy, but that kickoff return right after the Texans drove the length of the field and scored the touchdown just seemed to shift the momentum back to the Packers.
Big 2nd and 10 catch made on the outside by James Casey. First down.
Good for 12 yards, and that is also good for Houston Texans.
Packers much more depth on the defensive side, and it's showing up. I mean, they have playmakers now in multiple positions. You know, you lose a Jennings on the offensive side, you lose a Jermichael Finley, who really was out early in this game, and other guys have to step up, and probably the receiver's best game of the year in this one.
And over the middle, that's caught. That'll be a first down. Garrett Graham, the tight end, makes the catch.
And I think tonight you saw why teams don't play bump and run man-to-man coverage against the Green Bay Packers. You know, they've been usually very cautious on the back end, 2 deep safeties, and my guess is you're not going to see it again very soon either.
Incomplete, intended for Graham. 2nd and 10. Matthews and Watt will probably have a battle all the way to the finish in terms of who will be the sack leader in the league this season.
9.5 sacks, and all those passes deflected, double digits in sacks and pass deflections. Only 2 other guys in the NFL over the past 2 seasons have been able to accomplish that. Heck, he's almost double-digit sacks already this year.
2nd and 10. Inside handoff here. Forsett. You know, every time I look at Watt, you see number 99. If you love sports, there's 199 you think of, and that's Wayne Gretzky. Even if you don't follow hockey, that was Gretzky's number. Look at that man Watt. He was a hockey player.
And a good one.
He was. Can you imagine he's 6'5", 290 or so. Maybe he was a little less than that. Maybe 30 pounds less a few years ago. But he played club hockey, wound up playing in some international tournaments, and was a center, not a defenseman.
He came screaming down the ice at me, I'd be saying, that's a goal.
3rd and 6. And that's picked off. And that's intercepted by Casey Hayward. So Hayward now, 2 tonight, 3 in the last 2 games. The rookie out of Vanderbilt.
This has been a turnover night, as many as they've had all season tonight. And John McMillan is going to come in and get his hands right there. Casey Hayward said, thank you very much. Boy, I tell you, if these young guys, John McMillan's a rookie and Casey Hayward's a rookie, and they keep developing the way that they are, hopefully Nick Perry's okay. This could be a different football team this year.
From the 36, Houston out of timeout, so only at the 2-minute warning will that clock stop. So Starks takes it to the outside. Starks wants to go out of bounds, which he doesn't. Keep that clock moving. Thank you very much. 2nd down.
Jared Boykin in now, a guy that Mike McCarthy was all fired up about, a receiver. Said that, you know, this guy would have been a 2nd or a 3rd round pick, but he went to the combine and ran a 4.7 and everybody forgot about him. So he went undrafted, and I think he's sort of the classic flanker position for the West Coast offense. Big, strong guy, strong hands.
Most in school history in terms of receptions at Vautech. And Starks getting a little work here. He's pounding down as he reaches the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down, and that will take us just shy of the 2-minute warning.
Well, these players like wearing all the pink stuff too, don't they? You know, it's a good thing too. All the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you know, we should recognize the ladies. How many times have we talked to them, and they all have stories about their mom and what they've done for them, and women are watching the NFL in record numbers now. So, a tribute to the ladies. Well done.
You bet. 3rd and 7, and a penalty. One of those in a while. We had a ton of them earlier in the game, and most of them were killers for the Texans.
This is the 2-minute warning.
All right. But a flag, Jerome. We're going to commercial anyway. 2 minutes. Green Bay by 18 on their way to get back to 500. Wendy's post-game report is coming up very shortly. Michelle will be down on the field, and I suspect she might be interviewing somebody who's thrown 6 touchdown passes tonight. Just a guess. Bob, Tony, and Mike breaking it down, seeing what went on and around the NFL. Look ahead to Steelers-Bengals. And Chris, this has been a fantastic performance for you under circumstances that are very different. Your dad, Abraham, passing away over the weekend, and we just want to wish you and your mom and the entire Collinsworth family the very best with our prayers. And you are some trooper, I got to tell you, to even be here, period.
No,
thinking about you, buddy.
My hero, man. He was something special. Passed away early in the morning on Saturday morning, and able to be there with him. And former national champion of the UK Wildcats, played basketball for Adolph Rupp, was the principal of my high school. I used to tell him I loved reading about him on the bathroom walls, and he'd get a laugh out of it. He self-deprecating with his humor, always was, and he was the mayor. Everywhere he went, he was loved.
And how proud he was of his family. On 4th down, James Starks is stopped and going to turn the ball over to the Houston Texans. So the Green Bay Packers, it'll be a much happier flight home for these guys. Last week, a little shell-shocked, even though it's a very short trip from Indy to Green Bay, to squander that 18-point lead. And we talked about it at the very top, Chris mentioning whatever it takes.
It was hair-raising tonight if you're a Texans fan.
Well, yeah, it was hair-raising for Green Bay coming into the game.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were going to get.
But great teams have a way of answering the bell. The New York Giants today, everybody was going, oh boy, their sack numbers are way down. They look like they're falling apart, and they go out and take apart the 49ers in San Francisco. And man, I tell you, the Green Bay Packers just, but they're not going to be able to stop the run and all that. And the Houston Texans at home, 5-0, and just shut them down from the beginning. Jordy Nelson, he's no Greg Jennings, can't make the big plays. What's wrong with Aaron Rodgers and all that? Right out the window.
2nd and 6. And Houston just running out the clock right now. And looking ahead to their next game against Baltimore here next Sunday afternoon. As Justin Forsett takes it to the 34. A couple of league notes before we head to the post game. Jacoby Jones, that big kickoff return coming at a most opportune time in that game, tying an NFL record 108 yards against the Cowboys. Larry Fitzgerald, second player to reach 10,000 receiving yards before the age of 30, though they lost that game to Arizona after a chance to win it at the end. Russell Wilson beating the Patriots and Tom Brady today. Big comeback in Seattle in a stunner. 3rd and 3. And this should be the final play of the contest. And padding that stat sheet is Forsett. So only the Atlanta Falcons are undefeated. Cleveland won today, so every team has at least one win. Mike McCarthy feels a lot better about his Packers. And the Packers this season have gone lose, win, lose, win, lose, win. And that's how they get to 3-3. Wendy's post-game report coming up after this.